The wedding hall looked bright and beautiful. Soft lights covered the ceiling, and fresh flowers filled the air with a gentle smell. Guests from many places had come to attend the wedding of Aman and Mira. Everyone talked happily, praising the grand arrangements made by the groom's family. It was clear that Aman came from a rich and respected home. Aman stood near the stage, wearing a neat traditional outfit. He looked confident and proud. Beside him stood Mira, calm and graceful. Her smile was soft, but her eyes searched the crowd again and again. She was looking for one person who mattered the most to her. At the far corner of the hall sat an elderly man named Ram. He was Mira's father. His back was slightly bent with age, and his hair was almost completely white. He wore simple clothes that were clean but old. His shoes had marks of long use, and his hands showed signs of many years of hard work. Ram did not talk much. He sat quietly, holding a small gift bag on his lap. His eyes stayed fixed on the stage, watching his daughter. Every time Mira smiled, his face lit up with pride. For him, this wedding was not about decorations or food. It was about seeing his daughter start a new life. Not far from Ram, Aman's parents sat with their relatives. They were well dressed and carried themselves with pride. Aman's mother noticed Ram sitting alone. She leaned toward her husband and whispered something. Both of them glanced at Ram and gave a small laugh. They began talking softly, but their words were filled with judgment. They spoke about Ram's simple clothes and quiet nature. Aman's father said that Mira's family looked very ordinary. Aman's mother added that such a man could never match their status. Some relatives nodded, enjoying the gossip. Others listened without speaking. No one stopped them. Ram did not hear their words, but if he had, he would not have replied. His life had taught him patience. Mira felt uneasy. From the stage, she noticed the looks being exchanged. She knew her father very well. She knew how many nights he had worked late and how many comforts he had given up. After her mother passed away many years ago, Ram had raised Mira alone. He had been both father and mother to her. Ram had once owned a small shop. It did not bring much money, but it brought honesty. He worked every day without complaint. When Mira wanted to study, he sold his own belongings to pay her fees. When she needed books, he skipped meals. He never told anyone about his struggles. As the wedding rituals began, guests moved around, greeting each other and enjoying the food. Laughter filled the hall. Still, Ram stayed seated. He did not feel small among rich people. He felt complete because his daughter was happy. A few guests from Mira's side came to greet Ram. They asked him how he was feeling. Ram smiled and said that a father's heart feels full when his child smiles. His words were simple, but they carried deep meaning. Aman's parents continued to watch from a distance. They believed respect came from wealth and show. They had no idea about the life Ram had lived or the plans he had quietly prepared. Aman himself noticed Ram for the first time. He saw the elderly man sitting alone and felt a slight discomfort. Aman knew Mira loved her father deeply. He wondered why his parents had not gone to greet him. But with guests all around, he said nothing. The priest called for the next ritual, and Mira stepped forward. As she did, she looked at her father. Ram met her eyes and nodded gently. That small gesture gave her strength. Inside Ram's gift bag was not something ordinary. It was not expensive wrapping or shining gold. It was something far more meaningful. But that moment had not yet come. Ram believed in timing. He believed that true value revealed itself at the right moment. As music played softly in the background, the wedding continued. Smiles filled the room, but not all smiles were honest. Some hid pride, and some hid judgment. Ram sat quietly, holding his gift, unaware that soon his silence would speak louder than words. This wedding was only beginning, and before it ended, many hearts would change. The wedding hall grew busier as time passed. More guests arrived, and the sound of laughter mixed with music. Plates filled with food moved from table to table. People praised the arrangements again and again. Amon's parents walked proudly among the guests, accepting compliments with wide smiles. Amon's mother stopped near a group of relatives. She spoke about the effort her family had put into the wedding. She talked about the decorations, the food, and the guests from important families. While speaking, her eyes moved toward the corner where Ram was sitting. She lowered her voice and said that Mira came from a very simple background. She added that her father looked like a man who had seen hard days. Her tone carried amusement, not respect. The relatives listened closely. Some smiled, some nodded. One of them said that Mira was lucky to marry into such a wealthy family. Another added that Ram must feel proud to sit among people like them. These words were said without care. No one thought about how deep they could hurt. No one wondered what kind of life Ram had lived. Ram remained in his seat, calm and still. He watched the guests walk past him, busy in their own world. His thoughts traveled back to the past, to days when life was not easy. He remembered the small house where Mira grew up. It had a leaking roof and weak walls, but it was filled with warmth. He remembered holding Mira's hand on her first day of school. He remembered promising her mother that he would give Mira a good life. After his wife passed away, nights were the hardest. Ram worked during the day and took care of the house at night. When Mira fell sick, he stayed awake by her side. When money was short, he smiled and said everything would be fine. Those memories did not make him sad. They made him strong. Back in the present, Mira sat beside Amon during a short break in the rituals. She noticed her parents-in-law talking and laughing. She also noticed how they never once approached her father. Her heart felt heavy. She wanted to go to Ram and sit with him, but guests surrounded her. Amon sensed her silence and asked if she was tired. Mira smiled and said she was fine. Amon's father soon joined a group of older men. They spoke about business and property. During the conversation, he mentioned that the bride's family was very ordinary. He said that Ram looked like a man who had nothing to offer. The men laughed politely. One of them asked what gift Ram would give. Amon's father replied that it would probably be something small and emotional, not something of real value. These words spread slowly among the guests, turning into quiet jokes and curious looks toward Ram. Amon overheard part of the conversation. He felt uncomfortable. He respected his parents, but he also respected Mira. He believed character mattered more than money. Still, he stayed silent, unsure of how to speak at such a moment. Ram noticed people looking at him. He understood what those looks meant. He had faced such looks many times in his life. When he went to offices wearing simple clothes, when he stood in lines with tired workers, when people judged him before knowing him. He never fought those judgments. He believed time revealed truth better than words. A young boy, a distant relative, came and sat beside Ram. The boy asked him why he was sitting alone. Ram smiled and said he liked to watch from a distance. He said watching his daughter happy was enough for him. The boy asked about the gift in the bag. Ram placed his hand on it gently and said it was something he had prepared with love. He said every father prepares something for his child, even if others cannot see it. The boy nodded without understanding fully and ran back to his family. As evening approached, the rituals moved toward the final stage. The priest announced that after the main ceremony, families would exchange blessings and gifts openly. This announcement created excitement. Amon's parents smiled proudly. They believed this would be another moment to show their status. Ram heard the announcement and took a deep breath. He looked at the stage again. Mira met his eyes and smiled softly. That smile reminded him why he had worked so hard all these years. Inside his heart, Ram felt calm. He knew that what he carried was not meant to compete with anyone. It was meant to protect his daughter's future. Around him, whispers continued. Some guests expected to see something surprising. Others expected nothing at all. The gap between pride and patience grew wider in the hall. On one side were people who believed respect came from display. On the other side sat a father who believed respect came from responsibility. As the lights grew brighter and the music slowed, everyone prepared for the next moment. Few knew that this moment would change how they looked at one quiet man sitting in the corner. The priest asked everyone to gather closer to the stage. The main wedding ceremony was complete, and now it was time for blessings and gifts. The soft music stopped, and a calm silence spread across the hall. Guests stood in a loose circle, watching with interest. Aman and Mira sat side by side on the decorated chairs. Mira's hands rested in her lap, but her fingers trembled slightly. She knew this moment was important. She also knew her father would soon step forward. One by one, relatives from the groom's side came first. They gave shining boxes, envelopes, and wrapped packages. Each gift was announced loudly. People clapped and smiled. Aman's parents watched with pride as their family's name and status were displayed openly. Then came Mira's relatives. Their gifts were simpler, but given with warmth. The crowd listened politely, though the excitement was lower. Finally, the priest called Ram's name. A soft murmur passed through the guests. Many turned their heads toward the corner of the hall. Ram stood up slowly. He adjusted his simple coat and held the small gift bag firmly in his hand. He took careful steps toward the stage. Each step felt heavy, not with fear, but with responsibility. Aman's parents watched closely. Aman's mother leaned toward her husband and whispered that now everyone would see what Ram could offer. Mira's eyes filled with emotion as she watched her father walk forward. She remembered walking beside him on narrow roads, holding his hand when she was a child. Now she wished she could walk beside him again. Ram reached the stage and bowed his head respectfully to the priest. Then he turned to Aman and Mira. His voice was calm and clear when he spoke. He said that he did not have fancy words or showy gifts. He said that everything he had done in life was for one purpose, to see his daughter safe and respected. He said this gift was not just for today, but for the days that would follow. The hall grew very quiet. Even those who had been whispering earlier now listened carefully. Ram handed the sealed envelope to Mira first. She received it with both hands, her eyes shining. Aman placed his hand over hers, offering support. The priest asked Aman to open the envelope. As Aman opened it, his expression changed. His eyes moved across the papers slowly. His hands paused. He looked up at Ram, then back at the papers. Aman's parents leaned forward, trying to see. Inside the envelope were official documents. They showed the ownership of a small but well-located house, fully paid and registered in Mira's name. There were also papers showing savings meant for her future needs. For a moment, no one spoke. Then a wave of shock spread through the hall. Whispers turned into gasps. Faces that once carried smiles of pride now showed disbelief. Aman looked at Ram with respect. He stood up and bowed slightly, holding the papers carefully. Mira could no longer hold her tears. She stood and hugged her father tightly. Ram placed his hand gently on her head. He said that he had started saving from the day Mira was born. He said he lived simply so she could live without fear. He said a father's duty did not end at marriage. The hall remained silent. Aman's parents stood frozen. Their earlier words echoed in their minds. They realized how wrong they had been. Aman's mother felt her face grow warm with shame. She remembered laughing at Ram's clothes and silence. Now that silence felt heavier than any words. Aman's father stepped forward slowly. His voice shook as he spoke. He said he had judged Ram without knowing his story. He admitted his mistake in front of everyone. The guests watched closely. Some nodded in agreement. Others looked at Ram with new respect. Ram did not smile proudly. He did not raise his voice. He simply said that he never wanted to compete with anyone. He said every parent gives what they can. He added that love and responsibility mattered more than display. The priest blessed the couple and praised Ram's dedication. He said true wealth was built through patience and sacrifice. The mood in the hall changed completely. The whispers stopped. The laughter turned sincere. People who had ignored Ram earlier now came forward to greet him. Amon's parents bowed their heads and offered sincere apologies. They asked Ram to forgive their behavior. Ram accepted their apology with kindness. He said understanding was more important than anger. Mira held her father's hand and felt proud. Not because of the gift, but because of the man he was. The lights seemed brighter, and the hall felt warmer. The wedding had become more than a celebration. It had become a lesson. Ram returned to his seat quietly, just as he had sat before. But now, no one saw him as small. Everyone understood the strength behind his silence. After Ram returned to his seat, the wedding hall did not feel the same. The air was calm, but heavy with thought. Guests whispered again, but this time their words were filled with admiration instead of judgment. Many people looked toward Ram with new eyes. Amon and Mira sat quietly on the stage. Mira held the documents close to her heart, but more than that, she held her father's love in her mind. Amon placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. He felt proud, not only of the gift, but of the values Ram had shown. Amon's parents stood together, silent and thoughtful. For the first time that day, they did not seek attention. They felt small, not because of wealth, but because of their earlier pride. They realized that respect could not be shown through decorations or money alone. Guests from different families began to approach Ram. Some greeted him warmly. Others apologized for ignoring him earlier. Ram greeted everyone with the same calm smile. He spoke little, but his eyes showed kindness. One elderly guest sat beside Ram and said that true strength often comes quietly. Ram nodded and replied that life teaches patience to those who listen. Their simple exchange carried deep meaning. Meanwhile, Amon's mother walked slowly toward Ram. Her steps were careful. She folded her hands respectfully and apologized again. She admitted that she had judged him without understanding his journey. She said she felt ashamed of her words. Ram listened without interrupting. Then he spoke gently. He said that misunderstandings happen when people look only at the surface. He added that learning and change were more important than blame. Amon's father joined them. He invited Ram to sit closer to the family during the remaining rituals. This invitation, though small, meant a lot. Ram accepted it quietly. Mira watched this scene from the stage. Her heart felt lighter. She knew her father never sought recognition, but she was glad he was finally receiving respect. As the next rituals began, the families sat together. The distance that once existed slowly disappeared. Conversations became warmer. Laughter returned, but now it was free of pride. A young woman from the groom's family approached Mira and praised her upbringing. She said it showed in her calm nature and strength. Mira smiled and replied that she learned everything from her father. Amon listened and felt grateful. He realized that he was gaining not just a wife, but a family built on strong values. The priest announced the final blessing ceremony. All elders were invited to place their hands over the couple and give blessings. Ram was invited first. As Ram stood up, the hall fell silent again. He placed his hands gently on Amon and Mira's heads. He wished them a life filled with understanding, patience, and respect for each other. His voice was steady, and his words came from experience. Amon's parents followed. Their blessings carried a new tone. They spoke of unity, humility, and learning from one another. After the blessings, dinner was served. This time, Ram was seated among the main family members. No one questioned it. It felt natural. During dinner, Amon's father spoke openly about Ram's dedication. He shared how his own views had changed that day. Many guests listened carefully. Some nodded in agreement, reflecting on their own judgments. Ram ate quietly, thankful for the food and the peace around him. He did not enjoy praise, but he appreciated honesty. Mira noticed her father's tired face and asked if he was well. Ram smiled and said he felt content. For him, seeing his daughter respected was enough. As the night moved forward, music played again. People danced lightly and talked freely. The wedding regained its joy, but with a deeper meaning. Several guests approached Ram to ask about his life. He shared small stories, never exaggerating. He spoke about hard work, simple living, and faith in time. His words left strong impressions. Amon's mother sat beside Mira and held her hand. She promised to treat her with care and respect. Mira thanked her, feeling hopeful for the future. The hall lights softened as the wedding moved toward its end. The grand event had begun with pride, but it was ending with humility. Ram looked around the hall one last time. He saw faces filled with warmth. He felt no anger, no regret. He believed that every moment had happened as it should. This wedding had given more than a union. It had given understanding. It had taught many that true value is not worn, but lived. The wedding was coming to an end, but its effect remained strong in every heart present in the hall. The lights were softer now, and the music played slowly in the background. Guests prepared to leave, but many stayed longer than planned. They wanted to talk, to reflect, and to carry something meaningful with them. Amon and Mira stood near the entrance, greeting everyone. Their smiles were calm and genuine. Mira looked peaceful, free from the worry she had felt earlier. Amon noticed the change and felt thankful for how the day had unfolded. Ram stood a few steps away, watching quietly. He held a small cup of water and rested his tired legs. His body felt weak, but his heart felt light. He had carried a heavy responsibility for many years, and now he felt that a part of it had finally been placed safely in the future. Guests came to Ram one by one. Some thanked him for teaching them a lesson without raising his voice. Others said they would remember his patience and strength. Ram listened with humility. He replied that life teaches everyone in different ways, and learning never stops. Amon's parents approached Ram again, this time with warmth and sincerity. Amon's mother said that she wanted to learn from him. She said she realized that kindness builds stronger families than pride ever could. Ram smiled and said that families grow when people listen to each other. He said respect makes even simple homes feel rich. Mira joined them and held her father's hand. She thanked him quietly for everything he had done. Ram looked at her with gentle eyes and said that a father's happiness is seeing his child confident and safe. Amon stood beside them and promised that he would always honor Mira and her values. He said that he respected Ram deeply and hoped to learn from his example. Ram placed his hand on Amon's shoulder and said trust was built through actions, not words. As the final guests began to leave, the hall slowly emptied. Chairs were being arranged, and workers started cleaning. The grand decorations no longer mattered. What remained was the memory of a moment that had changed many hearts. Amon's family invited Ram to stay with them for the night. They insisted gently. Ram accepted, knowing it came from genuine respect. Mira felt happy that her father would not return alone. Later that night, Ram sat in a quiet room. He looked at an old photo of Mira as a child that he carried in his wallet. He remembered the long journey they had shared. The struggles, the sacrifices, and the silent promises he had kept. He did not feel proud of the gift he had given. He felt proud of the life he had lived with honesty. In another room, Amon and Mira talked softly. Mira shared stories from her childhood. Amon listened carefully. He realized that the strength Mira carried came from years of guidance and care. He understood that marrying Mira also meant respecting her past and honoring her father's journey. The next morning, sunlight filled the house. Breakfast was served simply. Ram sat with Amon's parents at the table. There was no awkwardness, only warmth. They spoke about daily life, values, and hopes for the future. Amon's father admitted that the wedding day had changed his thinking. He said he would teach his children to judge less and understand more. Ram nodded and said change begins with awareness. Before leaving, Ram prepared to return to his small home. Mira packed some food for him, but Ram laughed softly and said he would visit often now. Amon's parents requested him to come whenever he wished. This time, their words carried respect, not formality. As Ram walked toward the door, Mira hugged him tightly. She whispered that she would always carry his lessons with her. Ram smiled and said she already had. Ram stepped outside and walked slowly down the road. The sun was warm, and the day felt peaceful. He did not look back. He knew everything he needed was already ahead. Inside the house, Aman and Mira stood together, ready to begin their new life. It would not be perfect, but it would be built on understanding and respect. The wedding had ended, but its lesson remained alive. It taught that silence can carry strength, patience can reveal truth, and love does not need to be loud to be powerful. And so, a new chapter began, not only for Aman and Mira, but for every heart that had learned something that day.